when your build has all the power and survivability to destroy the content that you're tackling, and you want to take it to the next level, where do you go? With this build, I made it so that it doesn't reload, and I boosted the crowd control effect. I'm going to both show you how to make this build, and then we're going to discuss how to take your builds to the next level when your build already has all the power and survivability it needs for you to be successful. Let's do it! Today, I bring you a one-shot kill pistol build with an infinite magazine. It never has to reload, and it delivers 2 types of status effects for crowd control. This build has all the power and survivability you need to play fast, out of cover, even with all directives if you so choose. Let me take a quick break to walk you through the build, and then after this, we're gonna have a discussion on evolving your builds once you've reached that place where you have all the power and survivability you need.
Entering dog zone.
Okay, so this one is built around the D50 and Hunter's Fury, and there's lots of options here, and so we're going to touch on all of that today. Let's start with the gear set. So this is a 4-piece Hunter's Fury. We're not worried about the shotgun SMG damage, but we're looking for that armor on kill, which is 20%, and Apex Predator, which is going to give us 20% amp damage when we're standing within 15 meters of our targets, and then we're going to get 5% more amp damage stacking per enemy that we kill. That's going to have a 10-second timer. More importantly, on top of that, we're going to disorient any nearby enemies when we kill somebody, which is going to help us survive a ton out of cover, and this, of course, is a shieldless build. I have armor core and headshot damage and protection from elites. The gloves are armor core and headshot damage. Then we have weapon damage and headshot damage on the knees, and the holster is more weapon damage and headshot damage. This is primarily a pistol build, so the D&H is a great piece here. You can also do Providence or Walker, but this is a good power up. We got weapon damage, weapon handling, and headshot damage, and Headhunter, which has given us that 1,250% damage boost from the last headshot kill. You just need to make sure you have 150% headshot damage on your build, and if we just look at our pistol, what we're playing with, we do. We're at 180% headshot damage. The backpack is the Memento. This is pretty elemental for this build. We're running it for those 3 cores, and I have a skill haste mod here. There's a lot from this backpack happening that makes everything work because I've added some additional elements to the build to make it more creative. Anyways, we're gonna get that weapon damage. We're gonna get 30 stacks from those trophies eventually, right? Really easy to do that. Usually you're gonna have them all by your first control point. And so that's gonna give us 30% weapon damage, and then we're gonna get 5% weapon damage on kill. That's gonna last for 10 seconds. We got 4 red cores, so that it's gonna add up to 20% weapon damage on top of the 30%, and that's gonna all stack. So it's gonna be 30 to 50 to 70 to 90 and so on and so forth. We're gonna get 10% bonus armor per blue core. We got 3 of those, so that's 30% bonus armor on kill, and that also stacks. So 30, 60, 90 just in bonus armor, and that's our shielding, and that's gonna last for 10 seconds, and that's a long time. That's more than you need. And the reality is that, remember, we also have the 20% armor on kill, so really you're well protected and you get ridiculous amounts of armor, even if it's temporary bonus armor, but you're gonna keep killing and keep maintaining that, so it's pretty handy. And then we're gonna get 3% armor regen when we have all of our mementos stacked. Now the skill efficiency is important here because I decided to add riot foam. It's gonna have 3 canisters at its base with the mods. I got ensnare duration, and 3 canisters is just about right because we don't need the enemies to stay stuck for super long, but all that skill efficiency is gonna give you status effect and skill haste, which is gonna be used on that. And so we just need them long enough for us to put a cap in their head. What we're really looking for is the skill haste off of the skill efficiency. We're not trying to overly rely on the riot foam. We're just using it to make things more efficient and keep enemies from doing things like punching you in the face or doing cartwheels in the middle of a battle. So really fun. So you got 2 sources of controlling the crowd, one from that status effect disorientation and the other one from the riot foam. Then I'm running the decoy to distract the enemies and keep bullets off of your back. Super, super handy, especially for big crowds. So I'm running sharpshooter, and it's not really helping our primary weapon. I'm literally running it for the TAC-50, but you don't have to do this. I just think the TAC-50 is easier to use than the Nemesis. So I play into the mechanic where I use the TAC-50, of course, once I have TAC-50 ammo, which happens pretty quickly and really easy to maintain. But I use the TAC-50 to initiate Headhunter. And by using the TAC-50, I'm gonna proc it all the way to its cap in a single kill. If you don't do that, then you're gonna have to chain kill multiple enemies to get to the peak, usually. Now you can also do this with the White Death and the Nemesis, which is better than the White Death to do it with. But you know, the Nemesis you have to charge up, and I want to try to do all of this inside the 15-meter mark so I can get the amplified damage and get a stronger punch out of that headshot kill. The TAC-50 is just faster and easier to do that because there's no charge effect and it's really, really strong. But that's the only reason why I'm running sharpshooter. So if you're not worried about that, or if you have a little bit more patience than me, then think about technician here, because that's going to give you another skill tier, thus another canister of riot foam. And the star of the show, the D50. Now mine has expertise on it. You're not gonna need that, but I use it so much I've added it a while ago. Anyways, I got stability here for the mod because this thing has a kick to it. And then we got 8 in the mag. Pistol damage and damage to target out of cover. And even though I have all of this stability plus the weapon handling on the build, as you can see, it's not even maxed out on its weapon handling status bars there, which is crazy. It's got a 1.6 second reload, which is pretty good as its base. But today we are featuring the salvage talent. Now, if you watched my video, 8 ways to never reload in this game, then you would have seen this build, a variation of this build featured. Salvage is really amazing, and I'm surprised I haven't given this more attention earlier. It's not a new talent, but it's one that's never talked about and often overlooked, but on these pistol builds, it's amazing. So killing a target has a whopping 70% chance to refill the magazine. And so 8 rounds is actually not a large mag if you think about it. Yeah, it's more than a 6-shooter, but it's not a big mag. And so having a bottomless mag is absolutely amazing. 70% chance is very reliable. And if you need to reload, it's not a big deal because you only got a 1.6 second reload. But is this OP? No, it's not, you know, but it's a nice alternative to determined because you don't necessarily need determined with the pistol build. And we're going to talk about that more in a moment.
Hostile broadcast picked up.
And that's a good segue to the topic I want to discuss. If you want to evolve a build that has all the damage and survivability you need, what do you do if you want to take that build to the next level? Now, there's not really a right or wrong answer here, so this is an open discussion, and I'd love to hear about your approach in the comments below. So the gameplay footage I am showing you is an example of me taking a build that I just showed you, a build super effective that's rolling through all the heroic content. I was able to take that build and make adjustments to help me perform even better in the same content at the same level. And so here's a quick snapshot of the build. I'm not going to give you a complete walkthrough because it's the same build. So I swapped out the protection from elites mod for headshot damage, and I swapped out that skill haste for more headshot damage here. And then what I did is I add on more armor cores. And it's really interesting because this is a power up to the build, which might be confusing because how is adding armor powering up the build? And that's a really good question. And so the reason why I added armor was for the bonus armor perk coming off of the kill confirmed talent on the backpack. So we're getting that 10% bonus armor per trophy per blue core. We had 3 before, so that was 30% on kill. And so we added 20%. So now we're getting 50% bonus armor on kill. That's 850,000 in bonus armor off of a single kill trophy. And we're stacking those. So our armor is going to get even more ridiculous than it was before. But that's on top of the 20% armor on kill we're getting from Hunter's Fury. How is this a power up? Well, it's because it's powering up our shielding, which is what's allowing us to play out of cover. And so is our power, so is our damage, so is our time to kill. It is both of those elements. But the reason why this is a power up is because I didn't need any more damage on the build because we had overachieved the effective amount of damage that I needed to be successful with this gameplay style, the objective of the build at this level of content with directives. So what am I saying here? Well, what I'm saying is that power ups to a build aren't always as obvious as damage. So if we look at the pistol as an example, there's lots of talents that would help us here. We got close and personal that would give us 30% weapon damage for 10 seconds, but we already have the damage to one-shot kill. So what is more damage going to do for us? I mean, it would help a little bit in certain circumstances, but it wouldn't be a power up to our overall performance. And then there's preservation. This could give us more armor on kill, 20%, but do we need it? Well, we got all that bonus armor and we got 20% armor on kill from Hunter's Fury. And so if you want to take this build to the next level, where do you go? You could run Future Perfect and pull in more skill tiers and give yourself stronger riot foam or a stronger decoy or a shield if you were running that. You could give out more status effect duration to that riot foam if you felt like your build needed it. You could do Determined, which is greatly helpful. And this isn't a damage application, nor is it giving you more armor on kill or bonus armor. But what it's doing is adding more survivability to your build. It's allowing you to play faster because your time to acquire targets is significantly cut down because you no longer have to aim for the head. This is an excellent option. And today we're featuring Salvage, which is an endless magazine, cutting out reloads from the equation, which can sometimes get you killed also. Do I need Salvage? Absolutely not. But we don't need damage and we don't need more defense. So having something like Salvage or Determined are where I would turn to improve the build or take it to the next level for the content that I'm trying to take on. If the content changed, then so would the context of this conversation. All the talents that we just reviewed may or may not even be an option anymore. So if we were going to try to bring this pistol into like Countdown or Legendary, I'd be looking at a whole new set of talents. So it's all subjective to the content that you're taking on. So when you're looking to take your build to the next level, this isn't something where you really have to get too scientific about, especially if that's not your bag. You just need to ask yourself the right questions and you need to observe. So for this build, the observation is that it's actually the shield, whether it's a hard shield or a blue shield, but it's the shielding that allows you to play out of cover and get inside 15 meters where Hunter's Fury is effective. In other words, the bonus armor is what's actually driving the damage on the build, but it's the damage in turn that gets us the bonus armor. So it is a cycle. They're playing on each other. They're synergizing. So with that being the observation, the question is, are they in balance? Or can I shift some power from my damage to my shielding and still accomplish the one-shot chain killing on elites in heroic with all directives while bolstering my shielding to improve my survivability and hopefully improve my time to clear even more because I have more protection. And so what you would do is just take off one weapon damage core at a time until you reach that threshold where you're no longer able to add more armor without sacrificing your one-shot kill capability, which is your time to kill in this scenario. And at that stage, we have powered up the build by giving ourselves heavier shielding, which is allowing us to stay inside that 15 meters, regardless of how many enemies are around us, and still be able to chain kill. And just keep in mind, when you're already at that point where your build has all the damage and added survivability you need to play your content the way you want to, then evolving your build isn't necessarily things that you need, but there are additional elements that help you perform better, like the no reload thing. If I don't need the obvious damage or things like preservation, then I'm going to start looking at things like weapon handling or things that just allow me to play faster. And so if there's that weapon or build that you want to see being taken to the next level in the Division 2, whether it's an option or not, what would you want it to get better at? Thank you for hanging out with me today. My name is TuxedoBandido, and this was another episode of The Division 2. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, like, and turn on notifications to ensure you don't miss out on the fantastic experiences waiting for you in The Division 2. And if you like builds like this, check out the recommended build video I have here for you. If you have anything you want to see covered, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And thank you to all the channel members and donors who make everything possible. Tux Nation wouldn't be without you.
Follow me.
I get it.